Hope Talk in the building. Every time the music just kind of gets you going. Let's go, man. How are we feeling today?
I love it. Back at it, like you said, man. I love hearing the music every time.
Yeah, so we
Who's this?
got the Celtics in the background. We got to open with the Celtics. I mean, we're doing a night session. So the Celtics just won. You
That's
gotta
right.
you gotta you gotta break it down. I know you only caught the second half. You were doing the baseball thing. I was in the gym doing
Yep.
the basketball thing myself, doing some training. So I missed the game, but I heard Jason Tatum was really bad, but then he turned into that dude.
Yeah, crazy game tonight for the Celtics. Really, obviously a must win because they would have been eliminated if they didn't. But like you said, I was out coaching Little League baseball. Got home around halftime, and at one point, Jason Tatum was 1 for 14. They really did not look good, the Celtics. But that fourth quarter, like that last 6 or 7 minutes, Tatum went 4 for 4 from three, turned it on, had 16 in the fourth. And, they can't win without Tatum playing that way.
Mhm.
And I say that, and they still won game two by 30, whatever. And Tatum went 1 for 7, whatever. But they really need, especially in a game seven, need Jason Tatum to step up and not, 42 minutes into the game, like from the jump. Fortunately, hey, it's at home, game seven at home for the Celtics. So you got to like him there. But man, and you and I talked a little bit before the show. Boston's a crazy sports town. I mean, Tatum's getting annihilated in the media up here, even though he's a first team All NBA guy. Joe Mazzulla getting hammered in the media up here. Um, the way he manages end of games and doesn't call timeout when people think he should. I mean, it's just, Boston sports, especially playoff Boston sports, man, there's nothing like it. But
Yes, the title town. They're not there just to participate. They want to win it all. And the NBA is as wide open as it's been. Last year was really wide open.
yep,
It's probably been wide open really probably since the bubble. No clear, no automatic favorite. But this year feels like super open, and
yeah,
with them being the younger team and they added people and they went to the finals, it felt like, well, they're going to win it this year. So
yeah.
that's the expectation in Boston,
That is 100% the expectation, especially with the Bucks out of the way.
right?
You really do. I mean, I will be honest. Whoever gets by here, and assuming Miami gets by the Knicks. I mean, Miami's scary. Just Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy Butler is scary. So
Yeah,
we'll see what happens there. But
yeah. That's
Celtics.
the last three teams in the East. So Milwaukee obviously won it
Yeah.
2 years ago. Then Golden State, but Miami went the bubble year against LeBron. And then Boston went last year. So yeah, definitely a team that's not playing any games. The Knicks, I'm glad they bounced back.
Yep.
I'm glad
Yep.
they responded. That was good to see. This Lakers and Golden State series, they also bounced back. The series have been really good so far. You have to be a fan. If you're a fan of the game, you got to be excited about how the playoffs are going because you don't really know who's going to win on any given night, and it's a lot of stars, a lot of matchups, and yeah, it's been a beautiful time in the NBA right now.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was telling someone today. I mean, this is the most fun I've had in years watching the playoffs, and it's
Right,
not just because of the Celtics. I mean, there's been so many. Watching Denver play is a lot of fun. Watching
a lot of
Phoenix
fun.
play. I mean,
Yeah,
but even hey, I am a Boston guy, and I'm not supposed to say this, right? But I really like watching the Knicks play too. I
yeah,
love Jalen Brunson. I love the way Julius Randle plays. Like,
yep.
each of these teams, have some really, fun things about them. So it's
No
I
question.
love watching these playoffs.
Yeah, it's got good star power. You got enough grit, enough kind of skill. You got some dirty work. You got some great storylines. So yeah, we're here for it. We're here for it. Excited to see what happens in this next. Really, before we record, it'll be the next round. We're doing it every week, so it'll be interesting to see what happens this weekend. So, kind of moving along. Next thing's Daily Dirt. It's a little different this time of year for you guys in Daily Dirt because in the past we talked about this last episode, but there's usually more head jobs open, but the head jobs cycle is kind of over. So it's like transfer portal that closed today. That you're supposed to have your submission to the transfer portal deadline was today. But yeah, it's probably more assistant coach scoop and maybe some D2 and D3 and JUCO stuff here and
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that's what it is. And a lot of assistants on the move right now, and that's kind of what we're following. Even this morning, Division III Eastern Nazarene. We knew who they were going to name as their head coach. About an hour before they did it, so we ran with that. So a lot of it is the kind of the small college stuff that's opening, and you know, I know like a lot of the national guys, everyone likes the D1 stuff and the D1 head coaches. But like, if you look at our viewership, man, like we post like, you know, Division III dirt with a job that's about to get hired. And if you look at our like analytics, like those are the ones that get the most hits. I mean,
wow.
you know, we're like the true basketball junkies and the basketball coaches. This is where they're coming, you know, we see it in those numbers, you know, and I believe there's a couple of JUCO jobs coming down the road here in the next week or so that I think, you know, we'll have before they're officially announced. And,
Yeah.
you know, you know, it's the name of the game. Guys got to know what's opening before it opens so they can start planning that move, that next move, you know, figuring out, you know, who's getting that, because who's getting that and who's getting that. And, you know, those dominoes fall. So, you know, there's still a lot of stuff out there. Like I said, I mean, we're still probably 2 or 3 Division I head coaching jobs that are still going to open. But still a lot of assistants on the move. Staff's getting filled. So it's still an interesting time, still busy.
Oh yeah. It's still going. It'll keep going. It just looks different. It just looks
Exactly.
For your seat, quick interview question. Of course, we did the podcast. It was almost 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
Everybody may not have watched that episode and they don't know how cool your job is, but your information, you don't have to tell all your sources per se, but people just freely reach out to you. Are you seeking information? Is it just because you've been established now that it's a combination of both? How does it work? And do people, I think I saw recently somebody before their school even broke it, they broke it with you guys. So it feels almost like the recruiting news going to such and such, and you're going to go break where your commitment is. It feels a little bit like that in some ways.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's a, you know, I do it a lot of different ways. I mean, there's stuff that I'll hear that I'll actively kind of reach out to guys just to figure it out. But like, you know, I mentioned earlier, you know, like Division III Eastern Nazarene today, a guy I know a little bit texted me and said, hey, here's who's you know, here's the hire. And great, I'm not going to trust one source, really good guy. So, you know, I made 2 more calls, followed it up, got confirmations from both who I knew were close to it, and then we ran with it. So, you know, a lot of it is kind of getting that initial tip and then following up on it. But, you know, but there's a couple of things, and I says a lot. There's so much stuff that I don't put up there, that I don't put on the website, or I don't tweet about. You know, a lot of it's like information trading, because I know I'm going to get something else on the backside. So, you know, I get a lot of guys. Man, I know there's a couple of Division I guys I'm working with right now trying to fill assistant spots. Like, I'm not going to say anything about them because I know down the road I'm gonna get some other stuff from them. So, you know, spent a lot of time just kind of building those relationships. And, you know, guys will definitely, you know, tweet stuff at me or text me or email me, because all my numbers are all over the place. You can reach me easily. But just because someone, you know, texts me doesn't mean I'm putting it up. I mean, I'm gonna research it and make sure, you know, because, you know, I don't want to jam guys up and say stupid stuff and say stuff that's wrong, you know, like, I'm, you know, legitimately reporting on what I hear. And I, you know, definitely get second and third sources on everything, but you know, and you know, it's a lot of fun for me, you know.
No doubt. People have the notifications turned on. Let's just keep it what it is. They have it turned on and try to find out what's going on.
Exactly. People want to know, and you know, it keeps me involved. You know, I spent 20 plus years as a college basketball coach and stepped away from it, but now, you know, I still get to you know, talk to my guys, you know, every day. I mean, you know, I talk to so many guys every day, and, you know, between texting and email and DM and actually like picking up the phone and calling, it's weird, you know, you actually still talk to guys. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. And hey, you know, it's a lot of you know, late nights, late hours, and it's a lot of fun.
No doubt. A lot more control than when you're in the game. Like, both of us can relate on that part. We've been in it for almost 20 years in it, have put a lot of sweat equity, and now that sweat equity gets to be transformed, and you still get to tap in that way, but you get to unplug sometimes and not have to worry about moving cities or have a job tomorrow or any of that.
Exactly. You know, right. You know, I control it. You control, you know, we do our thing and, you know, have fun with it and still get that family time. And that's the most important, you know?
No doubt. What's tell us a little bit about, let's go quick into the broadcasting world. We're going to talk Huggins. We're going to talk Bronny James real quick. But you had a chance to jump behind with the headset on for a little bit. And of course, I've been doing the same thing this last couple seasons. So how was your experience? Because at one point in time, you tried to tell me, I don't like that. And I was like, I don't know if he's gonna stay firm in that.
Yeah.
And it looks like you've turned around. So tell us about that a little bit.
Well, I shouldn't. You should be telling us about that. I'm just trying to follow what you're doing. I was lucky enough. I did, half a dozen small college games this year. But I'm following you. How many ESPN games did you do this year?
Total games I did 50, which is crazy to think.
That's amazing, right? I mean, that's big time. So
Yeah.
it literally. I mean, I think you're doing a phenomenal job, and I've seen some of your games, and you're doing great. So I did tell you a few years ago that I wasn't interested. I didn't really want to.
You did tell me that. I was like, I don't know if I'm buying it.
Now I'm kind of hooked. I'm gonna spend some time this summer trying to figure it out and try to get some more gigs because I really enjoy
it. It's a fun thing, and we need. This is my take on it. We need more basketball people, that have put the sweat equity in, and that still have some stripes in the game that know how to communicate about what's going on. I think that's. I don't know. I think it's important. It's a huge part of the game that is underrated in its value and importance. And there's nothing wrong with maybe guys that haven't played or haven't coached, because there's a lot of great ones, some of the best. But there's something to be said about those that have and they can do it well.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm a fan of it, and I didn't think I would necessarily. I didn't know where it was going to go, but I'm enjoying the fact that. I think there's a space for it because not only is it fun and can you enjoy it, but you get a chance to honor the game and give the respect back to it, and take the preparation into the craft, and you're telling the story, you're controlling the narrative, and you're on the spot to be able to help the listeners and people process what's happening. And the more prep you can do on the front end, the easier it is to kind of be in a flow. So yeah, I love it. I don't have to worry about wins and losses. I get to travel a little bit. Still get to be at the shoot arounds and do the interviews. So yeah, it's a lot of fun when you do it right. Definitely not something that's easy, but something that you take a great pride in doing a good job representing the people, the coaches and the players and the organization that you're working for.
No, I've had a ball with it, and I hope to do more. But I've had fun watching your career kind of take off doing it. It's been awesome to watch. And I think like you just said though, hey, at the end of the day, there's no losses. You didn't lose a game. You walk away from it with a good feeling no matter what. So
it's a lot different than being a coach, and that's for sure. I heard Mike Breen on a podcast talk about this. His thing was it's still a way to serve. I look at it that way. And when you do a really good job doing your research to tell a story about like yourself, for example, if you're coaching and there's things that people don't know, you get a chance to tell those stories. But you get a chance to really, it's a way to be on a team again, because the person you're working with, you want to do a great job with. And then the people the producers you want to do a good job with, but then the people that are playing, you want to honor, the work that they put in. And I think sometimes it's easy to be very opinionated. And I try to do my best. I work to do my best to not be as opinionated about what I think only, but more so, what do I think they're trying to do, or why did it not go the way that they wanted it to go? Instead of, well, they should have been doing this. There's just a lot of strong opinions sometimes that can get in the way of that has nothing to do with what they're trying to do. So anyway, I don't want to get too into my broadcasting bag. So let's talk about.
I'd like to hear it though. It's good to hear. Hey, I'm taking notes, so that's good.
Yeah, I think there's a way to be able to help everyone process the why behind what is happening. To me, that's a big part of what's going on. People want to know, well, why would this happen? And it's to not go to extremes. I think you want to give people you want to speak truth, but you want to give benefit of the doubt to players and coaches, because it looks easier than what it is. When you're just watching, you're like, they should have done this. It's like, it just doesn't go that way. It's like somebody like Jason Tatum, for example. He starts out the game, doesn't play great. Does that mean he's not a good player? First team All-NBA. So you don't have to crush the dude. Right. And in college, it's a lot easier because it's not maybe as I don't know. It's not the NBA. It's not the big stage, so to speak. But people can just have such strong opinions about, well, he didn't come ready to play. Well, do you know that? Right. Because he ended the game and they won, so it looks like he was ready to play. But I think it's just a lot of opinions. I try to stay away from not making these bold opinions on what
I hear
what
you.
or why somebody did something that you don't actually know. Basing on the information you have, basing on what they try to do, basing on their numbers or their stats, tell a story, maybe share an opinion of, hey, maybe in this situation they may try to do this or whatever. But I think you can just actually talk about what's happening and not try to give all your opinions and make it about you.
Well said. Love it.
There you go. Mic dropped. All right. Bob Huggins. Let's talk about him. I was talking to town this week, and Bronny James. We'll talk a little bit about that in college basketball. Bob Huggins, for those that don't know, unfortunately said some things that were very bold and just flat out wrong about in an interview. And he has been reprimanded. Many people thought he should have lost his job. Some people think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. In today's climate, it feels like those things can lead to not having a job anymore very quickly. I think his stripes in the game, where he's at, probably, along with the equity he's put into the game, along with having a really good recruiting class via the portal, I think all probably helped him to just get punishment and not lose his job. But I do think back to even Greg McDermott, if we remember a few years ago, he got in some really hot water. People thought he was going to lose his job. He didn't. And when you can get to the other side and win some games, sometimes people, we do have to have some kind of grace. It can't be all cancel culture. So, yeah, I'll let you break that one down.
Yeah, listen, it's a hard one, man. I mean, you can't say what he said.
Yeah.
You can't make, homophobic comments on national radio or on local radio, made on a Cincinnati radio station. And, you can't say it.
Right.
So he's got to be better. Does the punishment fit the crime? I don't know. Like you said, I don't know. I mean, hey, he lost $1 million out of his salary. I don't know. I mean, he was making, 4.15 million. So now he's making 3.15 million. I mean, do you notice that you lost $1 million? I don't know. I would. You might. I don't know. But, 3-game suspension. Is that, they're going to go, kick some low majors ass for 3 games in a row. That matter? No.
Right.
His contract got reduced. Instead of a multi-year contract, is now a year-by-year contract. I mean, he's probably going to retire soon anyway. So, I don't know. I mean, are they punishments for real? Yeah. I mean, his apology was actually really well written. I'm assuming he had a lot of help with it, to make it sound good. And that's not an indictment of him. I'm just saying, he definitely has help writing that thing. So it's just an unfortunate situation. It's too bad. In the state of West Virginia, he's probably the, most recognizable figure in the state of West Virginia, to go say stuff like that. And, this day and age, I don't know, like if I said something like that, I'm probably not getting a slap on the wrist. I'm probably done, but I think,
if a lot of people would have said something like that, they're probably losing their job.
Yeah. But, hey, learn from it and move on. If he can learn from it and move on, great. Like you said, he's got a lot of equity in this game. He's been around a long time, done a lot of good things. So, hopefully, he learns from it and it doesn't happen again. I mean, there is a clause in his contract that if it does happen again, it's immediate termination. So,
yeah,
that's there. So we'll see. But yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, hopefully it's just getting to a point where things are getting better, where people are starting to be more conscious of what you can and can't say. Because there does feel like a truth of what you say in that moment, knowing that it's public, is like, what are you saying when it's not public?
Right.
And what are you saying behind closed doors? So, again, not making any accusations. It's just, it's real out here. You got to be careful, got to do better. And, we'll move forward on that one. Talk about Bronny James, the big commitment last Saturday, going to USC. I think most people probably would have predicted that over Ohio State. I don't think he was going to leave the big stage, being in LA, dad's there. The part I know about Bronny James is this: he gets the hype because of his dad, but he can play. He is a good player. I think he's not as flashy as what people may want to go see. He's not box office per se, but he's a really good basketball player, does a lot of things well. I don't know about the NBA hype. Of course, his dad gets to create that, but I think it's a good fit. Andy Enfield gets a big get, and they have the number one high school player in the country that's already committed. They got a big time class.
Yeah.
Boogie Ellis is back, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So they have some pieces.
Yeah.
And it will be must-see TV, and it adds a little bit to the Pac-12 that they could probably use right about now with all the stuff going on with the Big Ten and transition there. So what was your thoughts when you saw he was going to USC?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think obviously it's a good landing spot for him to, stay at home and be close to dad. But, here's the thing that I really like about it, and it's not just USC, it's wherever he landed. You take high school rankings with a grain of salt. Everyone, who knows until you actually play a college basketball game. So now Bronny finally has the chance. He's going to go play college basketball. So now, you have something to measure him against. You're going to see him on the national stage, at a high major. So now it's on. Now it's, does he produce? Is he an NBA player? I mean, a lot of guys say that he could be. Or is he just a really good college player?
Right.
But at least now, you move on from high school basketball and AAU and high school rankings to actually, getting on the court and playing.
Yep.
And that's, that's where he's going to make his money. So
yeah, I will say NIL is changing quite a bit, and just the times are changing and obviously LeBron has a different presence than anyone we've ever seen as far as a following, but you can go. We've seen OJ Mayo, we've seen different guys, Mike Beasley, that were big time recruits come out. We've seen Anthony Edwards go to Georgia, but you don't have to go to the Duke or North Carolina or Kansas or Kentucky anymore the same way. And it's been like this for a while, but it's cool to see, I think, in its own way, he's not going to maybe what's traditionally a basketball power and just going and not just him, they have a big time class. So just to see how recruiting has changed to where guys are just going where they know they can have the stage, they know they can have opportunity, they're going to play with some guys they want to play with, and ultimately, like you said, live where he wants to live. Probably wants to be at home with dad and be able to still have the life of, the balance of both. So I stay saluted that anytime you can kind of control your own narrative. He didn't have a bunch of recruiting hype the whole time. I think people didn't know if he was going to go do the G League Ignite thing. And but I'm glad to see he's actually going to college. It'll be good for college basketball to have another really good player out there and a big name that has a following. One name we missed last week, D3 National Hoop Dirt Coach of the Year. We did it on purpose, Coach. We wanted to save it so you could have your own segment so we could talk about it. So in that, we have D3 National Coach of the Year, who actually interviewed for some D1 spots. Tell us a little bit more about the Hoop Dirt D3 coach.
Yeah. Apologies to John Krikorian from Christopher Newport. We were flying through our coach of the years last week and talked a little bit about everybody. I don't know how we skipped D3, and and I feel bad. I spent 15 years as Division III head coach, so sorry for skipping the Division III guy. But our Division III coach of the year was John Krikorian from Christopher Newport. They went 30-3. Won the NCAA Division III National Championship. And in the offseason, according to, my sources and what I've heard, he interviewed at Holy Cross for that opening. And it sounds like he was involved at the University of New Hampshire as well. So pretty good for a Division III guy to be getting involved with Division I jobs. And, he's got the chops behind it. And we've said it before, like, you got to win. Doesn't matter what level, you got to win. So he's won a Division III National Championship. In 12 years at Christopher Newport, he's gone 290-65. That's a 817 winning percentage. I mean, that's amazing. So, Christopher Newport's down in Virginia. You say, well, why is he interviewing at Holy Cross and UNH? Hey, he's from Massachusetts. He's from just outside of Worcester. New England guy. So, both jobs that would have been pretty good for him. But I don't think that's the last you've heard of him interviewing for Division I jobs. And, it's nice to see. It's nice to see the Division III guys get some recognition. And, hey, guys can coach at any level. And obviously he's proven that he can do it. So I thought it was a great choice for our Division III Coach of the Year. And, sorry we didn't mention him last week. But, I don't know.
It was all part of our plan. Come on.
That was it, right? We just needed to get back to something this week. We were looking for
we get an isolation. Like, it's a clear out for Division III, right?
We wanted in the big stage.
So I played 2 years Division III. UT Dallas, shout out to the Comets, first championship in school history. They've done amazing things since then and gone far beyond that to Sweet 16s and Elite Eights. Coach Butterfield's a Hall of Famer there, in my opinion. And you coach D3. What would you say about D3 basketball? I'll give a quick shout out. And then we got Duncan Robinson in the NBA, played D3, good player. Devin George, back in the day with the Lakers, NBA champion, played D3. Somebody else I was going to mention, Shaka Smart, played D3. There's a lot of love in D3. So let's shout out that real quick.
Yeah, no, I do. I shout out D3 and I give him a lot of credit, because I spent some time as a Division I assistant too. I've been at both levels, and
yeah,
there's a lot of differences, and we won't get into all of them. But the biggest difference, and I've talked to a lot of guys about it too, who are considering taking like Division III assistant job or a Division I, ops job. Division III, man, you do it all. You don't have a big support staff. You don't have all these full-time guys like. So, as a head coach, I mean, you could be driving vans, doing laundry, you name it, you're doing it, making your own hotel reservations if you're traveling to a tip-off tournament. I mean, there's just so much that, Division III guys on top of, coaching their teams and winning games and recruiting, they're doing everything else. And like I said, I mean, not all of them have, a full-time assistant. You're working with a lot of part-time guys. So, I give the Division III head coaches a lot of credit, and I tell the young guys all the time, hey, chase the Division III assistant job because you're going to do everything. I mean, you're going to learn, you're going to be coaching on the floor, you're going to be recruiting, you're going to be scouting opponents. You're going to do everything. That's the best way to learn. And like I said, I mean, I was at Division I level. I talked to a lot of guys about the Division I stuff. You can go be, an ops guy for one of these, SEC schools with 10 different ops guys and have your specific role. Hey man, it's cool to be at that level. It's cool to fly in a private jet, and it's cool to, when you meet some good guys, and that's a great way. And you can still move up that way. It's a great way to move up. But if you really want to bust your hump and learn this game from a lot of different angles, man, it's the Division III level. You'll learn a lot. I give those guys a lot of credit for what they do, and
no doubt,
not a lot of money either for a lot of those guys. So big shout out to them.
Yeah, Division III. Is irony as it sounds is a lot similar in JUCO in some ways because you have to do more with less. You don't have as big of a staff. Academically, D3 is obviously very different than JUCO. Most D3s are very academic. You have pretty low maintenance kids, pretty much guys that are taking care of their own. There's a lot of hands off in D3. You're not allowed to do a lot of things. You can't do summer workouts. You really can't even do preseason workouts until a certain point. It's all voluntary through players, so player-led type thing. So there's some tricky parts to D3 that make it challenging. But I think the part I would say about the game and the product itself is that there's really good coaches in Division III, and there's really good players. You just may not have a 6'9", 6'10" 5-man. You may have a 6'4", 6'5", but he's probably pound for pound as good, if not better, than a lot of the guys at the next level. And you're starting to see that more with the portal. There's been a lot of Division III transfers. I had a young man here recently that played at my alma mater, Demetrius Underwood. He went to start with Pat Kelsey, was a D3 All-American, had great numbers at that level, starts for Kelsey and is an all-conference player in year one there before they had this big run that they just made. But Kelsey's kind of made he's not the only one, but he's one that's made a living off of D2, D3 guys and kind of having their metrics that say this guy equates to this level. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of good players still at that level. I think the size per position is a little different. Maybe the athleticism isn't the same. But, man, the skill and understanding of how to play and execution, D3 basketball is legit. So I want to quick shout out to D3 for all those out there. And then we'll go D2. Let's talk a couple hires. We talked a lot of hires D1 last time. We'll talk D2, a couple of hires that you like. I'm going to go young in the youth movement. I'll let you go kind of with the veteran.
Yeah, well, I got a couple. I got a young guy and then a veteran. Let's go with the let's go.
Yeah, a little combination.
My young guy first. We'll give the young guy. So last week we talked about kind of our favorite Division I hires. I'm going to give you two Division II hires I really like. Yep. First one, Jordan Fee at Gannon. So Jordan Fee was an assistant at Nova Southeastern. Nova Southeastern won the Division II national championship this past year. Took over at Gannon, Gannon's in Pennsylvania. Fee is a Pennsylvania native. Here's a stat I love, though. So Nova Southeastern went 36-0 this past year. Over the last 4 years, when Jordan Fee's been on staff there, they've gone 122-11. In the last 2 years, they've gone 69-1. So, I mean, those are huge numbers. And, you've got a guy that's been coming from a program that's won. Gannon went 3-23 last year. And I know it's a little bit of a messy situation. Kelvin Jefferson left there, and there's a little bit of a lawsuit involved. But, 3-23, you got a guy, again, 122-11 in the last 4 years. And I think that's just, and from the area, I think it's a big time hire for Gannon. I think he'll turn that place around. Comes with a lot of street cred. So I think he'll get it done there. Young guy, first head coaching job at the college level. But then my number 2, and we broke this before anybody, Link Darner, really, really big hire at Tampa. For those of you who kind of followed Link Darner's career, he started out as a Division II head coach. He's at St. Joseph, Indiana. Then he won the Division II national championship at Florida Southern. So he knows how to win at the Division II level. He knows how to win in Florida. Parlayed that national championship at Florida Southern, to Green Bay. Became the head coach at Green Bay. Won a Horizon League championship at Green Bay. Lasted a little while there. Became an assistant at Ball State. High Point. Had just taken a job at Eastern Illinois this offseason. But obviously I think Tampa's a better opportunity for him. But, Tampa's a place where I think you can really win. You got a guy now who is a veteran head coach, who's been a Division I head coach, who's won a national championship at the Division II level. I think it's a great fit for Tampa. And I think, really, that one, with the Jordan Fee hiring and the Link Darner hiring, I think it was just two really, really good Division II hirings right there.
Yeah, I got a chance to coach against Link Darner when he was at Green Bay and I was at IUPUI, and obviously had success before he was there. That's why he was able to get that job, and had some success while he was there. It was really without getting too much into it, and you have way more insight than I do on this, but really still a strange situation why he wasn't there anymore, because it's not like he wasn't winning. But that's another conversation for another day. But offensively, really fun style of play, very up-tempo. People say that, but they actually lived it. They were one of the highest scoring teams in the country when he was at Green Bay. Play was kind of like that old school Steve Nash, scoring in 7 seconds transition type of approach. So yeah, good basketball coach. I have definitely having a respect for the job he did, and Green Bay hasn't been the same since he's left. So I think that also says a lot about the job he did there. Not an easy job. And shout out to Sundance Wicks. He's the new head coach at give a former Wyoming Poke some love there, and he's going to do great things, I believe, and kind of get that thing going. But Link Darn did a great job. So good hire and had success, like you said, proven winner. So good choices there. I'm going, a little bit younger, kind of the recycle former assistant and current assistant coming back home and getting promoted. I'm going to go Omar Gonzalez first, who got moved up at Kingsville. They've had success. Very difficult job in a Lone Star, not a job that is typically the one that you're picking in the top. I think there's 18 to 20 teams in that league. I mean, probably not even the top 10, maybe not even top 15 job. And they've won championships there. And so good to see Coach Estelle move on. We talked about that last episode. So congratulations, Omar. It doesn't always happen at the Division II level, it feels like. Guys almost want to make this thing complicated. So we like to see that. And so that's a great hire. Excited for him. And then Zane Gibson, going back to Fort Smith, was an assistant for Josh Newman there. Had the first winning season ever in school history at Western New Mexico. It was a very difficult job again. Another one of those jobs that hasn't had a lot of success, as they've never had a winning season until him. They were 17-11. He's able to go back to Fort Smith. So I like those two young gun hires out there, kind of getting a chance to move up the ranks.
Oh, great. Listen, I think those are great choices. And, like you said, with Kingsville and Omar Gonzalez, I mean, that's, you want to see, assistants from successful programs get bumped up. And it's good to see. And it's good to see when athletic departments and athletic directors don't screw that up, when they got a good thing right in front of them.
Don't make it hard.
Exactly. He's done a good job and well deserved. So it is nice to see that happen. So good choices there.
Yeah, let's go with our let's go recommendations. We're gonna go straight to it. Last week we got some good buzz on it. What's your recommendation that you have for this week in whatever genre you so choose?
All right, here's the deal. We're going. Last week we went with a TV show, Better Call Saul. Hopefully, some
I
of you
went
guys.
podcast too. And by the way, after that, the podcast they had Dawn Staley on there with some great sound bites.
All right,
I don't know if you checked it out yet, but the pivot is
I
popping
haven't yet.
right now.
I haven't yet. But here's where we'll go food this week. All right, I'm going to give you one. I was recently in Charlotte. Went one day, just quick fast food. Went to Dave's Hot Chicken. Just found it on the corner. I was amazed. Dave's Hot Chicken, the 2 slider combo meal with the fries.
Let's
Man,
go.
I'll tell you what. They put like the coleslaw and the pickles, and that was one of the best fast food chickens I've ever eaten. So I would, we were coming on, we were talking about recommendations. I was going to say anybody down south, I don't know where Dave's Hot Chicken is. I would recommend it. I just Googled it while we were doing this. There's like a Dave's Hot Chicken 20 minutes away from me up here. Well, I don't know much, but in the next week or so, I'm going to Dave's Hot Chicken up here. So, but that's my recommendation. If you can get to Dave's Hot Chicken, I think it was like combo number 3 or 4, the 2 slider spicy chicken combo with the fries at Dave's Hot Chicken. That's my recommendation. Try to find that one. I think that's a good one. What do you got, Coach Burton?
Good choice. And the fact that you almost might need to turn into a commercial. We might need to do a sponsor right there.
That's a good point.
We should pretty good.
Sponsorship, so that's something.
that was pretty good. I'm gonna stay in the chicken realm. I'm gonna stay in the chicken realm.
Right. I like it.
So many times you hear when you go to Texas, you hear about like Whataburger, and now you have Raising Cane's there. That's a thing. In-N-Out Burger from California is making its way to Texas, so that's kind of a thing. But I got an off the grid, like not really publicized, talked about, but man, Cowboy Chicken.
Okay.
I mean, the name in itself kind of makes you want to check it out. But Cowboy Chicken is legitimately, it might be my favorite fast food-ish place to eat. It's let me see if I can pull up a line or two about it. High quality casual dining restaurant serving hormone-free, all-natural wood fire rotisserie chicken. Yeah, they got all kind of stuff, man. It's like a premium casual dining, they call it. So a good combination of, it's not exactly fast food, but man, it's close. It's like you don't necessarily have to sit down, but
so
they have sandwiches. They have tenders, sandwiches. You can go rotisserie. You can go a little on the healthier side. You can go, they got it all. They got it all. I'm telling you.
I like it. That sounds good. It sounds like you're giving a little upscale version of maybe a Dave's Hot Chicken. You said, hormone free. There's that Dave's Hot Chicken's probably like loaded with hormones. Hey, so you got 2 options here, right? You got
you got 2. You can't go wrong. You can go chicken with hormones. You can go chicken with no hormones. Whatever you want to do.
I'm going Dave's Hot Chicken, but I'll try the hormone free chicken at your place one time too, though. But yeah,
yeah, you can alternate them. You know what I mean? You go one day, one the next. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Yeah, another great episode. We are in conclusion. We'll be back again next week. I don't know if I have any final thoughts. I'll go prediction. I'm going. Man, it's hard to pick with the Celtics series.
It is
hard to pick.
It's hard.
The home team should win. It would be nice to see Philadelphia finally actually advance, because it feels like the process has taken its time. It's gotten them to a point where way further than what anybody would have thought when they were going through the process. Yeah. But it just feels like it's at the end. James Harden, is he coming back? Yeah. Is he actually really healthy enough? Can those other guys kind of step up? Tobias Harris, Maxey, kind of the role guys. Can they help elevate them to get to the next round? If you think back to when Kawhi, they won their championship in the East, he makes that shot. He doesn't make the shot. They had Jimmy Butler on that team. I mean, so Philly's kind of had this experimental thing going, and it feels like they have to get over the hump. And then, like you said, Boston has their own pressure. So it feels like the home team should win that game. I'm more interested in this Golden State LA series. I'm not going to lie to you. There's a little more star power. We got, the champion LeBron versus the champions in Golden State. Like they've already gone against each other a ton. A lot of legacy stuff at stake. Who are you picking? I'm more so setting the stage. Who are you picking? You're going Celtics. I know that. Who are you picking in LA?
All right. Well, let me give you before. You're right. I'm going Celtics. I'm gonna go one. I'm gonna one up you here. I'm going Celtics by 30 in Game 7. They're gonna blow.
Wow! It's not even close.
Focused, ready to go. Boston runs them out.
Wow.
I'm gonna say Golden State wins that series, though. I'm gonna say Golden State's gonna come back, beat the Lakers. I think Steph Curry's focused. I think he's ready to go. I love Draymond. I love watching Draymond play. I love his toughness. Yeah. Anthony Davis is going to get hurt again. We know that.
Yeah.
I'm going there. And I'm also, I'm going to say this too. Miami's going to finish out the Knicks here, and be aware. Be scared of Miami because I think, like I said, I said it earlier today. I said the last time we did this. Playoff Jimmy Butler is a scary, scary man.
He's a monster.
So that's what I got.
This is my last one. Can the Denver Nuggets win an NBA championship? Sure they can, but do they really have a legitimate shot to do it? Because no one talks about Denver.
It's crazy, isn't it? No one talks about them, but they're good. I mean,
they have the MVP 2 years in a row. He was a runner-up this year.
Yeah.
They have the number 1 record in the NBA, the number 1 seed in the playoffs. And they're like the least talked about team
because they play in Denver. They don't play in Boston.
They're kind of like the new age. They're like the new age Spurs. Jokic is dunking,
yep.
And they got a cast and a way that they play. That's the right way to play. You love the way they play, but they don't have the stars or the sexy that kind of gets the. I mean, the NBA, even in their promotional stuff going into the year, they don't always even include Denver in the equation. So.
Right. Oh, I hear you. But again, it's no offense to Denver. I'm sure Denver's a very nice place, right? But again, Denver's not Boston. Denver's not Philly. Denver's not Miami. Denver's not LA. Denver's not San Francisco. And that's where these other, so
no doubt. It's got a little Dirk Nowitzki Dallas thing going. Yeah. Dallas is way cooler. That's home. And I live close to Denver now. But yeah, I think Denver Nuggets are way better than they're giving credit right now.
Yeah, I'm with you.
They're pretty ridiculous, but I'm going. I like the Golden State pick.
Yep.
I love what the Knicks have done to this point, but I think Miami's just too much in the end. The Jimmy Butler factor, and I think Spo is an elite basketball coach, and I think that matters. Hard to go against the home team and the Celtics. I'd like to see Philly get over the hump, and then definitely going Denver. So it'll be a good we'll have to revisit the picks next week. So
let's see where we are this time next week.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Hope everyone has a great weekend and a great week. Until next time, we are out with Hoop Talk.
We're out.